All right, cool. So here's an edit that I did on CapCut Mobile. This was about a couple months ago, I think. Was this back in March? Might have been. Anyways, I think I was in class, so I ended up making this because the trailer had just come out and I wanted to get to it faster than everybody else, so I ended up just making it that day. And so to show you what I kind of did, so just to start out, let's just look at the text. So text, we've got a keyframe there and a keyframe here. I mean, that's just a simple zoom in. For the graph, I use Flow 2. So the thing is, on CapCut PC, they actually don't have flow graphs, I think. Yeah, they don't have any flow graphs, or bounce, which sucks. That's something I wish they would add soon. But this is what I like to use on here. So you kind of get this stop in the middle and then it kind of keeps going. Let's see. Of course, for the font, was this one of my fonts? Or no, this is a favorite font. I used, let's see. Where is it? Am I tripping? I don't see it. Well, I use one of these fonts, okay? Some of these are my fonts, so like these right here, these I have downloaded on my phone and my files. You can just get them on like defont.com. But a lot of the fonts on here are nice. Some of them are pro fonts, but most of them you can get without having to have pro. And then to get this kind of animation on it, I did a loop animation and I did doodle too. So you kind of get this typing animation with a little bit of like, I guess, doodleness, whatever you want to call it. For the effects, I use wide angle because it kind of gives you this perspective warp that just adds a little bit more depth to it. You also get a little bit of depth to the black bars, which is an overlay. So all I did was just take a black screen. So I go to overlay, and then let's see, I gotta go to library, go to favorites, or you have to just go to favorites. You could just do like background, and I think it's this one. Yeah, no, that's not what I'm trying to click with the. Okay, it's just making me click that, but it's between these two, the white one and the black one, and you get this right here. It's just a black screen. Let's see, or this one right here. Okay, that's not what I'm clicking, but they have the regular base photos there as well. So I just do that, right? And then what I do is I go to mask, and so for the mask, let's say no mask, right? It's just a black screen. What I do is I do a mirror mask, and so when you do the mirror mask, you would get something like this. And so once you do that, what I do is I invert it at the bottom, and then I add some keyframes and adjustments to make it go from, and I zoom this in right here. So like this is zoomed in, and then I zoom it out to be like further out like this. So you get this like cool black bar effect, and then it zooms back in with everything. And then from there, okay, well, I don't know why this is like, my keyframe is tripping. From there, I have ease out, and then from here, I do like I guess I could just do ease out here. So you do ease out here, or could do let's see. Could do like an ease like this. So you get like an instant, like a slow, and then an instant kind of quick motion. And then here, let's see, then you go ahead and get quad out or ease out to kind of get to zoom out or zoom in. So you get kind of something like that. Or I think what I had before. Let me see what I had before on here. I actually have zero clue what I had. Yeah, let's just I had ease out, and then so both these were just ease out. But like what I would usually do for this, where do they go? Here we go. Is I would just use ease in. So for some of these transitions, so like for a lot of this started zoomed in, went zoomed out, zoomed back in. So I'll say it again. Started zoomed in into a zoom out. This keyframe right here is a zoom out, and then slowly zoomed back in. And then I use cubic in for this part of the graph, and then ease out for the first part. And then on this one, this is just 2 keyframes, but this is just a slight zoom in, and I use Flow 2. So I started zoomed out, zoom in, and hold on. So zoom out, zoom in, and then here, let's see. Get a little zoom in right here. Same thing. I use flow 2. And then for this, I did the same thing, flow 2. Started from zoom out, zoom in to Peter. And then this one, I did the same thing, but I started zoomed in, then zoom out. This, I did the exact same thing. I went from zoom out, or I did the zoom out again. I should have did zoom in there, but this was a bit ago. Then I zoomed in, went from zoom out to zoom in with him there. And I think I used, what did I use? I used flow 2. I don't know why looking like that. But for this, I used the same method of the black bars with the white one. And then I did flow 2. So pretty much most of this is just zooms. This one, I zoomed in, then I zoomed out. So I started zoomed out, zoom in, zoom out. Same method, cubic in, ease out. Same method, zoom in, zoom out. And then as this zoomed out, this was zoomed in to zoom out to make it look like it flows seamlessly, zoom back in. So that's pretty much the whole method I use with this. I alternated between these type of zooms and simple zoom ins and zoom outs with flow 2 graphs. I did that. Transitions, I use mix a lot, and I use inverted flicker. So like this, you get like this mix effect. It's okay, but you get a nice kind of mix in. Once again, inverted flicker, mix. This was passerby. So that gives you like a little black bar across the screen. I like that one too. So really nice effects. Or transitions. Going back to effects, I also use hazy. So hazy is nice because you get like a cinematic almost blur around the edges. If you look around the edges, you get this weird cinematic blur that kind of focuses in on the middle. That's why I keep a lot of my clips centered. Just keep everything horizontal and vertical at 50, and then the blur is at like 30, I think.
What is happening to me?
It's not anything crazy. And then I use FPS lag. FPS lag just gives it this. I feel like it's not too smooth. It gives it this almost choppy feel. Another thing with the text, I layer the text. Not only do I collage it like this, so like I make everything kind of fit a certain way to look cool, just be like visually pleasing or appealing. Excuse me. I go to layers, and then I go down to layers, and I click this drop down, and I click all, and you get to see all your effects, all your filters, and I put all the text underneath it, so it gets affected by this haze and by the filters. Let's see. Is this filters? Am I on the filters? No, I'm not. Here we go. Filters. I used adjust. So I just did a basic adjustment. I used some color correction. Let's see. Brightness, I dropped like -5. Contrast, I think, is -5. I like now doing a lot more contrast, but it just depends on what your visual appeal is. Just don't blow out the image. Like, don't make it look like this or like crazy dark, or you know what I'm saying, or over sharpen. Just be careful, be mindful when playing with the adjustments. Highlights, I do like adding some highlights, shadows. So just all this vignette gives this like darkness or whiteness around the edges. But I'd use a little bit of vignette. It just depends on how, you know, intense the scenes are. And then grain, of course, grain, you get this visual text. Grain doesn't work as well because it doesn't come out in the export as well. As far as I remember from the last time I've used CapCut on my mobile, grain comes out funny, but when you export it, because it tries to cover out the grain when you export it. It's weird. I don't know if they ever fixed it. Anyways, here's some of my favorite effects. You can just look at them. So I'll scroll through and go through. These are all the ones that I use. I don't use all of these, but these are some of them that I've used before or messed with and just kind of liked. Black Panther, I always use this one. I always keep it at 30. This is just the setting I keep it at constantly. And then I adjust around it. I made some adjustments, saturation, HSL adjustments. So red, it's a lot of red in these scenes because it's Spider-Man, red and blue. So I made some adjustments to the red and blue, make it more vibrant, more poppy. Because it was a little bit of a desaturated trailer to some extent when it dropped. So I had a little bit of color. But yeah, that's literally it. Keyframes, zooms, transitions. A lot of it is text transitions. I don't think I have any animations. Animations work too. You can layer keyframe, like, yep, here we go. Here's one. You could layer keyframe animations. So like combo animations, you can layer those on top with your keyframes to make them a lot smoother. So you have combos, zoom to. Here's some of my favorites. I'll just show you all these. Okay, there we go. So these are some of my favorite, but I've used combo animations since I first started editing CapCut. I just learned how to layer them to make them look like they actually are professional. Zoom 1. So just knowing what some of the zooms do, a lot of the zoom ins to zoom outs, I use zoom 1s, and zoom outs to zoom ins, I use zoom 2. So it just depends. You just have to experiment. You have to click with it, play, mess around, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that should be just about it. Same thing with the text. I just alternated between collage text and the doodle text. Of course, to get this to be read, all I did was I go to style, and then for the color, I highlight this, go back to style, and I can just like change the color of it. You get black, you can get yellow, orange, all the good stuff. And take it back to red. But yeah, and then kind of do that. Then I did this text right here, right? This one is literally just a big text. Like, it's just a big block. I added some keyframes to make it zoom in. I also added some keyframes. I adjusted with the keyframes, also just the opacity. So it kind of comes in kind of late. I kind of did that on purpose, but I don't really like it anymore. I should have made it come in sooner, but it's okay. But that's just what I did at the time. I wasn't really thinking. So I did this like layer effect. I layered these, of course, layered the text. I layered the little one over the big one. And then of course they're layered underneath all the other effects. So it gives it this, it's still warped by the wide angle and colored in by the filters. So that's something. And then I just took everything here, exported it. So I went to export. I'm not gonna click it, so I don't feel like downloading it. Export, and then I click, matter of fact, it's whatever. What I did is I exported. Cool. Just go let that load and export. And then once I did that, you get this. I click this back arrow. What I do is I click the back arrow because once I do that, if I click done, it takes me out and it resets my whole like undos and all that kind of stuff. Like, it doesn't reset the timeline, but like when I go back in, it starts fresh. So if I hit the back button and I go back, I'm still in. I can still undo. I can still redo. But if I hit done, I can't undo or redo something. So just keep that in mind when doing certain things that you may have to go back and add the thing in. And then I'll just paste it in here. And this is just the same thing and just loop it. Yeah. And then the only thing that I changed is the text here is different because what I did is before exporting it, I changed the text to match the part of the song that this lines up at. So then once you get here, once I, and I export it, then once I click that back arrow, I'm able to go back in and then hit undo on all the text changes that I made that I adjusted on this part. So then I could go ahead and paste it in, and then here you go. And then this is just simple loop animation and some keyframes. Like, this is nothing. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's literally nothing crazy, I promise you. You just gotta think outside the box. You really do. This is the best you're gonna get replicating what I kind of do. For like the Miles Morales and stuff, like the text, you're gonna be messing a lot with the keyframes for the text. So you're gonna do a lot of this for zooming in. Because what I do for compound clips is to make everything kind of move in synchronization. I would compound clip it, and then inside the compound clip, I would copy the text, paste it in, and then I would put keyframes on top of the compounded clip, so everything would move in sync, like all at once, without having to do extra keyframe movements to make everything move how I want it to. Because then you'll do this, I can't even move keyframes. This is, oh my gosh, it's been a minute. But like, you'll do something like that, do something like this. You kind of have to adjust it, move it around. It all moves on its own different time as well. So just have to be mindful of that. So that's why I'm saying it's hard. It's really complicated to do on mobile. Not impossible, but it will take you a long time and you will get sick of it. But she'll eventually lead you to cutting down on quality because you will not feel like it. That's why I say just invest in a computer, laptop, something you can use to edit on CapCut PC. But like, I'll just show you the edit.
What is happening to me?
Just to see if you're born back. I want your things in my room. I miss you all the time. I stalk myself on the internet just to see when you'll fly. I want you.
And that just loops. So yeah, this, I also used a different transition. I used stretch right. I always keep that at 0.2. This is kind of the animations I use for Jug. This passerby right there. But I use stretch right, and it kind of moves in there. And then I use the keyframe to kind of zoom it in with his hand. And then I used another stretch effect to kind of warp it. Stretch left into the next scene. Zoomed into them. Stretch right again, I think. Zoom out, and then mix. And I think, what the heck did I use for this? Oh, it was my animation. Sometimes they leave little weird warp effects that I don't like. That's why I kind of stopped using them, but they're not terrible. But yeah, probably need to update my keyframe and my zoom animation stuff on my YouTube, because I've kind of gotten better at it. But that's it. So there you go.